The last few years has felt like a stream of continuous bad news, hasn't it? Recession, war, disease, plus many of our favourite car brands being phased out. The latest to join the list of cars never to be seen again now includes the Audi TT. But if you're going to go out, you might as well go out with a bang. Come on.
This is the Audi TT RS Iconic Edition, built to celebrate the TT's 25-year success story. For this version, we say hello to a TT with maximum style, maximum attitude, and maximum exclusivity. Only 100 units will be built, 11 for the UK, each costing an eye-watering £87,000. This is Audi's way of saying goodbye.
But is this a fitting send-off for a car that many people consider a true design icon? That is what we're here to find out today. Under the surface, it uses basically the same components as a standard Audi TT RS, but that's no bad thing because under the nose is that legendary 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbocharged engine. It makes 400 PS. It'll do 0 to 62 in 3.7 seconds. That's quick enough to bother pretty much any supercar. And flat out, it'll do 174 miles an hour. Yeah, this thing's quick. But we already knew that about this car. What's more impressive, arguably, are the updated looks. They've really gone to town with the styling on the Iconic Edition, which is fitting because even from the very beginning, the Audi TT has always been about making people sit up and take notice.
Cast your mind back to 1998 when the TT was first released. It looked like it had come from outer space with a revolutionary exterior design that drew more attention than most supercars. It went head-to-head with the likes of the Porsche Cayman, and while dynamically it never held a candle to the Porsche, it won plenty of hearts, minds and awards thanks to an abundance of style, good practicality and a refusal to simply blend in.
This one is a little different, still a TT, but the evolution into its final form is fascinating. The Iconic Edition stands out because it has a brand new, unique body kit. They say it was inspired by motorsport and honed in the wind tunnel, but the main purpose is to make it look really, really cool. I'll talk you through some of the highlights. Black badges all around, of course. It also has a split level splitter at the front. This little carbon fiber blade just there on the air intake. And my favorite bit of all, these little side flicks, which just look amazing. That, in conjunction with the squinty little headlights and the enormous front grille, make it look as aggressive as any Audi that I've seen. Along the side, not much has really changed. It still looks like a standard Audi TT RS, but that's not really a bad thing. It's still a squat, aggressive, muscular thing of a car with these huge blisters along the wheel arches, almost like a wide body kit. The thing that I'm not really a fan of is at the back where it says Iconic Edition on the rear window. Nah, not a fan. I mean, what's next? Are Audi going to put their Instagram handle on there? That, to me, is a little bit cheap.
The interior is an exercise in simplicity. No big infotainment screens here, just a single display for the driver, part leather, part Alcantara RS sports seats with honeycomb stitching in calendula yellow, and an Alcantara steering wheel with yellow accents. This being a limited edition, the gear selector marks each of the 100 vehicles.
I'm a huge fan of the back end of this car. There's a lot going on. I'll start with a negative, actually. I still don't like these fake vents just down here. Totally unnecessary. However, these lights are tremendous. I love the fact it's got these individual rectangular elements, 4 of them. Just gives it a nice 3D effect. Then, of course, you've got this massive rear diffuser down here with these twin exhaust pipes, which are also massive, nestled on either side. And the way the diffuser bleeds into this little fin at the side of the car, that looks tremendous. What else is there? Oh yeah, this enormous swan neck rear wing, which they say adds some downforce, but again, the main purpose is to make the car look as aggressive as possible. This might be the final form of the TT, but it's still relevant even today. it's also still got mean performance. I talked about it earlier, but it's worth saying it again. 400 horsepower really does allow this car to shift, especially because it only weighs just under 1,500 kilograms. A Porsche Cayman GTS has the same power and is slightly lighter, but this definitely accelerates more urgently. There's a little bit of turbo lag down low, but once it gets up into the power band, it just takes off.
That's because of the Quattro system, which gives it phenomenal traction, although whether it's a real Quattro depends on your personal outlook. It's certainly not the same Quattro system you get in other RS cars. Instead, it's a simpler Haldex system which can only send a maximum of 50% of torque to the rear wheels.
That all-wheel drive system does spoil the experience slightly if you're a so-called serious driver, because it makes the car slightly one-dimensional to drive, and by that I mean there's a certain way to drive an Audi TT RS. You hammer it down the straight, and as you get to a bend, you slam on the brakes, which work really well, by the way, hold on through the corners, and it actually flows pretty nicely and is neutrally balanced, and then when you get out of the corner, you hammer it again along the next straight. There's really no potential to get the back end out in this car unless you're having an accident, and I really wish they'd put the diff from the RS3 in this car. That would have made it so much more interesting. But having said that, yeah, it's still a lot of fun. The noise is good as well. There's a lovely character to that 5-cylinder with that unique firing order, 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. It definitely sounds better than any 4-cylinder engine. It doesn't pop or bang as much as I'd like, and we know why, regulations, but next to a V8, a V10 or a V12, I'd say the 5-pot is right up there with the best sounding engines. The gearbox is good as well. It's a 7-speed S-tronic dual clutch, shifts really nicely. A bit too smoothly for my taste. I'd love it if there was a bit more of a slap when you upshift, but it does give you the exact gear you need when you need it, so you can't really ask for much more.
Is it worth the price? You'd have to be a serious TT lover to consider it at £87,000. It's 50 grand more than the entry-level car, and 30 grand more than the standard TTRS, which has exactly the same amount of power, just different looks. It might be a slice of history, but that is a hell of a price to pay, surely one that only collectors will even entertain.
I do like this car. The Audi TT sometimes gets the mickey taken out of it, somewhat unfairly I'd say. Back in the day when it first launched, it really broke the mold and people stood up and took notice, but then it kind of became almost a victim of its own success. It became more known for style than for substance. Over the years, it's never really managed to shrug that image off, and I do wish they'd made some mechanical improvements to update its dynamic abilities and make it a bit more fun and a bit more driver focused. But am I being picky? Does everything have to be a leery, sideways machine? Arguably not. I really rate this car because it ticks the boxes that it was supposed to. It's good looking, it's stylish, it's fun, and it stands out. And you can't say the same thing about a lot of its rivals today.
All things considered, the TT has been a great success, a compelling design-led sports car loved by many. All good things must come to an end though, and with the public's love for SUVs showing no sign of slowing, there's certainly no guarantee the TT will ever have a direct replacement. Is this a fitting way to bow out? Well, the price is outrageous, but so is the design, and let's face it, that's always been the TT's priority. So if you're a collector who wants to own a piece of history that may never be repeated, this is a fitting tribute.